So I wanted to show you what I've done here. Originally I thought that supergluing this would fix this, but superglue wasn't strong enough. So what I ended up using was epoxy, and I don't know how that's going to work. If it's actually going to break when it's in there like what it did before with the superglue, but I guess we'll have to find out. I basically the same epoxy that I put on this, the place where I had mixed it was extremely hard, so I know that it cured properly. The first batch I did not, so that was kind of sad. But anyway, you can see the tape here that I have, so that this little thing doesn't flip back and forth and turn on the high beam. But anyways, yeah, the hard thing is like this has this little ridge on it, right there. But I kind of have to put it through there, and before it wasn't strong enough, it snapped off. Because as you're flicking the high beam on and off, it kind of has to, this thing has to bump past. There's like a little ridge back here. You can barely see it. It's this little guy right in here, and then there's this other little plastic piece right here, which slides on the back side of this guy. So this front part basically connects onto this little triangle looking piece that you see right here, and the back side of that piece slides along this guy. So as you turn on your high beams, it'll snap past this little triangle thing, I believe, and then when you turn them off, it'll snap back down this way. So anyways, so I think that's how that works. I think that will fix it. If it doesn't, I'll just keep that piece of tape on there, and I guess I just want to use high beams until I get a replacement unit or a replacement piece. The only problem with that, though, is this high beam lever is like really, it looks like it's been kind of, jammed into here. It's just like a press fit kind of thing. So I don't know how easy that's going to be to replace. Now, the interesting thing is, obviously if you hit this, usually it'll, if you push the lever in, it will turn on your horn. That's how the horn works in the DeLorean. And the funny thing is, there's actually these little wires that come out of the end of it, which turn on the horn. Now the funny thing is, I thought my horns were broken completely. Turns out they're not. It's just that this wire was broken. Obviously these wires are rotted, so they're very hard. The outside plastic piece is not flexible anymore, so it actually snapped. But what I ended up doing was I just soldered it back together. It's not real great, but it's a good solder joint. And the main reason I didn't replace it, even though I have like some replacement purple wire, is I really didn't want to have to deal with press fitting that again in there. I just don't want to open that Pandora's box. I've already opened another one with opening this plastic thing, and that's the next thing I want to talk about was this. Let's see if I can find the plate here. Oh yeah, here it is. Of course, the plate that thing fits to. So that thing goes in it goes like this. It goes in the back of that guy. I mentioned before in another video that this says "Do not remove 2 screws," which it's fairly good advice because it really was like a Pandora's box inside this thing. The main reason for that is that there are all these little plastic pieces and springs and things that are just, I don't know, not really well engineered, I guess, because at least for taking it apart, because when it comes apart it goes in a million pieces and putting it back together is not easy. So what happens is this is actually backwards. Normally the way this sits in the car is, and that little assembly is like this. Or no, yeah, that's right. This is, there we go. That's correct. No, there we go. So the way it works, I just have this piece in here wrong. Let me get this little spring assembly is in here the wrong direction. There we go. Okay, so the way this normally works is this sits, inside the little assembly like this. Obviously it goes in there a little better. I only have 2 hands. And then as this piece goes on and presses on the front of that, this will rotate back and forth. And so literally when you're turning your turn signal, this kind of goes like this as your levers going straight in here and kind of deciding which way this turns. And then if you turn your high beams, this will slide back and forth in this little channel. But the way all that works really is that even though this thing is symmetrical, there are there's a little arc here and one on the bottom, and then a hole there and then one on the bottom. At least the way mine was constructed, I assume maybe the DeLoreans are constructed differently, but basically the way mine was set up, well, actually, again, this little hole is for, that whole little plastic thing right there to slide back and forth in. Whoops, that's not good. So